A question comes in. It says earlier you had mentioned. I'm sorry. Earlier you had mentioned a comment about open interest and option volume, and is there a good open interest or option volume? Can Power Options screen for change in open interest and change in volume? Change in volume, yes. We do have in all strategies. You should be able to look up by the percent current or percent previous option volume. We do not have a filter right now for the change in open interest day by day or over time. It's usually only updated at the end of the day. However, let's go ahead. We'll just stick with covered calls for now. I'm just going to go back into the basic search where we were just a moment ago. And as we mentioned here, we have the default search results. These are based on our default criteria. Of course, in every strategy, you have roughly about 20 to 25 different option criteria you can filter by, and about 20 to 25 different stock technicals and stock fundamentals you can filter by as well. So just in the covered call, in addition to our expiration time frame, whether you want to go monthly, all expirations, and set the days to expiration, screen by time value, implied volatility, percent implied volatility range, IV over HV ratios, looking for undervalued or overvalued options, the return, as we mentioned, downside protection, percent if unchanged, percent if assigned, and the annualized also. Range in or out of the money, bid price, midpoint price, percent to double delta, probability, of course, assigned or probability of expiring worthless in a naked put. And down below, we have our liquidity. You'll see this. We'll take a look at a spread position or spread strategy. My apologies in a moment. But you have these filters for option volume today. Open interest, the basic open interest. Rule of thumb, Ernie and I usually suggest looking for an open interest that's about 10 times the number of shares, number of contracts you're planning on trading. So if in general, I'm trading a spread position and I usually trade about 5 to 10 contracts in a spread, well, I'm going to want that open interest to be between 50 and 100 for the options. So we're going to look for about 10 times the open interest, about the average number of contracts we trade in a given strategy. And as a general rule of thumb, you want the option volume to maybe be 5 times the number of contracts. So if in general, let's just say my average is about 7 contracts per spread position, having maybe 4 or 5 spread positions, maybe more open at a time, well, then what I might consider in that case, let's just say the number 7, I'm going to look for an open interest of 70, and I'm going to look for an option volume today of maybe greater than 30, greater than 35 contracts in that case. But to your question related to the change, the percent current option volume is today's total option volume for the stock, not just on the individual strike that you might be looking at, but across the entire security, all expirations, calls, puts, in and out of the money, adjusted by the time of the day, percentage-wise by the time of the day, looking at the average over the last 30 days. So if I only want to look for securities where the total option volume across the security is greater than 150% of its average over the last 30 days, I'll just go ahead and plug that in. Hey, why not? Let's see if we get any results here for the weekly series. Yep, there's Bill.com Holdings, Micron Technology, of course. They had that big 17%, I think it was, movement up yesterday with a surprise earnings beat, and Pfizer is in there as well. So these are positions that not only match the weekly default criteria, but also have a current option volume of greater than 35 contracts, an open interest of greater than 70, and the percent current option volume. Now it's total today, of course, because we're at the end of the trading day, but above 150%. So, at least 50% more than the average over the last 90 days. Of course, you could also look for the percent previous option volume as well to see something that maybe had an increase of 150 yesterday, but still had an increase of 150 today, depending on how you wanted to do that. So that's available for you there, the percent current option volume and percent previous option volume. And as we just mentioned a little while ago in our discussion of the picks of the day and the different views from the trade picks pod to the quick view of picks of the day, monthly or weekly, and the given strategies that are available into the search where you can see more data columns. Of course, I can change the columns any way I want. And if you wanted to add in the total number of previous option volume or the percent option volume current or the percent I know it's in here somewhere, sorry. But there it is, percent previous option volume or current option volume. Of course, you can just add those filters in as well. And then you can customize it once you've selected those. There's my current. Just check the box, and we're going to change the column order. And we're going to move the percent previous option volume up near the assigned returns, as well as the total previous option volume numeric, and the percent current option volume as well. Let's go ahead and submit that. Close the window and resend it. All right, so now we have our percent previous option volume, numeric previous option volume. Pfizer's really strong yesterday, 11,057 total contracts. And as I mentioned, the percent current option volume, the percentages versus the numeric as well. So this is important, though. You can take it with a grain of salt. Yesterday, the Bill.com holdings was 102% previous option volume. But the total previous option volume was only 3 contracts for this particular strike. This might not be that highly of a traded position, but whereas MU, right before earnings, was 455%. And today, of course, it still was at 210% after the earnings beat yesterday and then the continued trading today against the position. So that's what you have available. As I mentioned, you'll see that in pretty much all strategies that are available. The percent current option volume, percent previous option volume, as well as just the raw data for option volume today and previous option volume, open interest and put call volume and put call open interest ratio as well. Let's go ahead over to bull put credit spreads very quickly. And we'll just go into the search as we just did with our covered call positions. And there we have it here. Very similar option volume today, previous option volume, percent current option volume, and open interest as well. So you can look for heat map, I believe is what one site calls it, looking for the highest percent current option volumes. Should have mentioned, of course, as you add the different columns in for option volume, probability, any of the columns that you can add using that change columns feature, you can also select to sort by. So if I wanted to sort by the highest percentage option volume or percent current option volume, I should say, we could just select that from that list and decide if we want to sort it from highest to lowest or lowest to highest. Any of the option criteria, any of the stock criteria, percentage stock change today as well, percentage range, percent current option volume, there we go. So that's available for you as well. Okay, so yeah, we don't have the open interest change right now, but we do have the data for percent, the current option volume percentage, previous option volume percentage as well.